So the next step in plaque formation will be initial bacterial adhesion. Okay, so till now we talked about how a pellicle is formed and what is the pedicle as and what are the derivatives of a pellicle. Okay, so we have talked about how it forms and when it get matures and when it is visible and what is the thickness of a pellicle. Okay, so the next step will be initial plaque or bacterial adhesion. Okay, so we all know that the oral cavity has bacteria inherent, right? So this movement of the bacteria will be taking place with the help of a saliva or Brownian movement. So the bacteria inside the oral cavity, it will move, and wherever the pellicle is formed, as I said, the pellicle has the inner layer which is adhered to the hydroxyapatite crystals and it protects against demineralization. The outer layer, it is very loose, and that loose layer is responsible for the addition of the bacteria to the pellicle. Okay, so with the help of Brownian movement, this is the second step. Okay, so with the help of Brownian movement, that is the bacterial movement or saliva flow, what is going to happen is the bacteria, it adheres, or in a simple term, it gets close to pellicle. So as I told you, pellicle is basically like a a sticky substance. Okay, so if I put anything onto it, it will stick. If any dirt, if I'm putting on the sticky flow, it sticks, right? So similarly, the pellicle, because of its sticky nature, it attracts the bacteria towards it. Okay, so now what happens? The bacteria, it moves towards the pellicle and it tries to attach itself to the pellicle. Why? Because the pellicle has glycoproteins, all the nutrients required for the bacteria. So indirectly, the pellicle also acts as a the culprit. That is, it protects the bacteria or it helps the bacteria to grow. Okay, so the bacteria, it goes and attaches itself to the pellicle. In this case, I'll tell you there are two scenarios. Okay, so one will be the reversible addition, and another one will be irreversible addition of bacteria. So what do you mean by reversible addition of a bacteria is, say for example, here predominantly we are going to see the gram positive facultative anaerobes. Okay, so these bacteria, it goes and attaches to the outer layer of the pellicle. Okay, so if it attaches between 10 to 20 nanometers in the pellicle. Okay, so 0.1 to 1 micrometers the thickness of a pellicle. If the attachment is between 10 to 20 nanometers, it is called as reversible addition, which means the bacteria can still be wiped off from the pellicle. So the reversible addition is influenced by the saliva flow. Once the bacteria goes less than zero point 0.1 nanometers or 1 nanometer, it becomes irreversible addition. Okay, so what happens? The bacteria attaches itself to the pellicle at a specific distance. So as the bacteria penetrates through the pellicle, it becomes irreversible attachment. That means the bacteria will have specific adhesins. Adhesins means the sticky substance which will adhere to the pellicle. Okay, the bacteria will have adhesins specifically to um, the lipopolysaccharides, okay, or fimbriae, pili. So all these, they are going to adhere or helps in adherence of bacteria to the pellicle. Okay, so the pellicle will have all these which will be ready to attach to the pellicle. So the pellicle on the other hand, it will have the receptor to receive it, right? So if I open the door, somebody can enter my room. Similarly, a pellicle should have something so that the bacteria can attach itself. So the pellicle will have, as I told you, proline rich proteins and glycoproteins. Okay, so this forms a ligand receptor complex. Okay, so once a ligand receptor complex is formed, that becomes irreversible addition. Okay, so irreversible addition, you cannot remove the bacteria. Okay, so once the bacteria with the help of adhesins like fimbriae or pillae, it attaches itself to the pellicle. If it is at a distance of 10 to 20 nanometers, it becomes irreversible addition. It can still be removed. Or if it attaches to less than 1 nanometer, it becomes irreversible addition. So in the irreversible addition, there is going to be formation of a ligand receptor complex. So the complex is going to be extremely strong. Okay, so you cannot remove it. Whereas in case of a reversible addition, it is going to be weak van der Waals forces. Okay, or hydrophobic interactions. Weak van der Waals force or hydrophobic interactions is going to take place. So once this irreversible reaction takes place, what happens? The bacteria, they attach firmly to the pellicle and they start to divide. Okay, so the bacteria predominantly present at this stage will be gram positive facultative anaerobes. Okay, what do you mean by this? So they have gram positive, so they have a thick peptidoglycan cell wall, and also facultative anaerobes, that is they can grow in the presence of oxygen or without oxygen also. Okay, so in the presence or absence of oxygen, and also they have a thick peptidoglycan layer. So what are the gram positive facultative anaerobes? We all know that Streptococcus sanguinis, Streptococcus mutans, Streptococcus mitis, Streptococcus oralis, and also you will have Actinomyces viscosus and Actinomyces neelundi. So these are all the few gram positive facultative anaerobes that is going to bind to the pellicle. So recapping the previous stage, the Actinomyces binds to glycoproteins and the Streptococcus mutans binds to proline rich proteins. So this is how the attachment of a bacteria to a block takes place. It can be reversible or irreversible depending upon the position at which the bacteria is attached. So next is we are going in the next stage. What is going to happen is these bacteria, these attached bacteria, will multiply and they will produce a very huge microbial diversity, which will be extremely resistant to destroy, or the antibiotics will find it very difficult to penetrate. So in the next step, we are going to see the colonization of the bacteria. So till in the second stage, we talked about the initial bacterial addition, where the bacteria with the help of salivary flow and the Brownian movement moves towards the pellicle. The outer layer of the pellicle is extremely weak, so the bacteria attaches to the pellicle, and depending upon the distance at which it is attached, it can be reversible or irreversible. Once the irreversible, the ligand receptor complex is formed, it becomes irreversible. The bacteria begins to colonize. Okay, so we are going to move to the next stage.